Honorable members, may we please stand for a moment of silence and a short prayer. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Good morning, honorable members, honorable members of the Executive Council of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, the Chief Whip and abstention leaders of political parties, ladies and gentlemen, the people of Gauteng, and all guests, you are all welcome. We have one announcement, honorable members. I may also welcome all the honorable members on the platform that's online. Please take note that there must be a timeous preparation of House documents for the incoming sittings where annual reports will be presented. Political parties are kindly requested to urgently forward the names of their speakers who will be participating in the debate to House Proceedings Unit. Up to now, only one party has responded. We have one statement, MEC statement, in terms of Rule 79, subsection 1. Honorable MEC Nkomo Relaoko, can you do your statement, please?
Uthi uqalwe ngamje namhlanje. Ndizakhulula ngikaze ndabona yasethetha ngokindaba. Honorable Chair of Chairs, I think let me pass because I'm still trying to sort myself out.
Okay, let me take the member statements. Honorable MEC, I'll call you after that. Thank you so much. Honorable members in the House and those who are online, in the member statements. So I think about 6 member statements were deferred to today's sitting, and we felt it prudent as presiding officers and proceedings unit that we would allow the members who did not do their member statements last week, they can do it today. And that's why I will allow the member statements. 7 member statements will be read by different political parties. The first one is member Makgobe, please. Member Makgobe. Member Mtlongo. Member Mechwe. Member Arntseke.
Thank you, Chair of Chairs. Last week, Gauteng witnessed a tragedy that left us horrified. At Engweni Primary School in Tembisa, 2 women, a principal and an administration office, were shot dead inside their own school office. The update of this tragedy is, however, a fellow staff member allegedly organized the hit. The alleged suspect and the hitman have been arrested. What kind of society are we becoming when women are not even safe from their colleagues where they work? Teachers and learners in community left trauma. The heavy police presence, while necessary, it becomes a daily reminder to children that even their school is no longer a safe place. As we are marking 16 days of activism of no violence against women and children, this tragedy reminds us that for us women, violence is not a campaign theme, it is a real threat. We cannot allow ourselves to be numb. There's nothing normal about women being executed at work. Our shock is not only justified, otherwise we lose our humanity. The lives of women and children are in danger, particularly at our schools, due to lack of proactive measure to ensure safety and curb corruption, especially considering the incident happened around 4 in the afternoon, where it was only the caretaker. One little learner had to run away. He was left behind because he was waiting for his transport. On behalf of the DA, once again, heartbroken, I'd like to extend a heartfelt condolences to the families of the deceased. And I call on Tatenguna, the station commander for Tembisa Rabasotu, to ensure that this investigation is handled with urgency and professionalism so that this time the courts can deliver the toughest possible sentence. It's time that Tembisa turned itself around. It's time that we stop seeing the low conviction rates for femicide or GBV. It's time that justice starts with these 2 women who were assassinated in their workplace. Walks of the school, you can still feel the eerie feeling of knowing people died. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Second. Yes, Honourable Muriati. Yes. We are busy sorting it out now, Mr. Honourable Member Muriati. Honourable Mfikwe. Honourable McKenna. And Honourable Evans.
Honourable Chair of Chairs, Honourable Premier, I rise today under Rule 81 to deliver a message that resonates across our communities and across this country. Coloured lives matter. Yesterday, the 1st of December 2025, marked a historic moment for the coloured community. Across South Africa, hundreds of thousands wore black in a unified and peaceful protest. This powerful display was not merely symbolic, it was a plea, a demand and a reminder to this government that coloured lives do matter. Speaker, the reality facing coloured people in this province remains deeply concerning. Too often our communities are treated with indifference, our grievances are sidelined, our needs overlooked and our value as citizens diminished. The absence of targeted support and effective policy intervention continues to hold back generations of coloured families. Our children still confront systemic barriers that limit their educational and economic future. Many grow up in environments where gangsterism becomes a parallel form of governance, filling the void left by the state. These are not abstractions, they are lived experiences of communities calling out for dignity, justice and safety. Yesterday's unity was not an act of defiance, it was a call for recognition, equity and meaningful inclusion in the developmental priorities of this province and this country. Today I call on this provincial legislator to acknowledge this movement and to support it in action, not only in words. Let us commit to policies that uplift the coloured child, strengthen families and restore hope. Chair of Chairs, the patriotic coloured lives matter must not remain a slogan. It must become a commitment an ongoing movement for justice, equity, and real change. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Honourable Member. Let me take this opportunity to welcome the following stakeholders that have joined us today on the VIP and also on the balcony on the other side. The AGSA, Gauteng AGSA, 6 members are here. You are welcome. The MMC's finance team, you are welcome. Head of departments, you are welcome this morning. Chamber and forums, you are welcome. Professional bodies that are present here today, that have joined us, auditing firms, you are all welcome. The banking sector, financial services sector, GPG agency, and the academic institutions, and also the people of Gauteng, you are all welcome who have joined us online. Let me just make the last announcement. Honourable members, all chairpersons are reminded to make sure that their committees submit both the oversight reports for the annual report or the second quarter report for the review sessions that's starting on Thursday and Friday this week. Secretary, can you read the first order, please?
Order number 1, introduction of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill, G005-2025, and the Medium-Term Budget Policy Statement, MTBPS, for the 25-26 financial year, MEC for Finance, Honourable L.I. Maile.
It is my honor and my privilege to call Honourable MEC L. Maile to table the introductory speech on the introduction of the Gauteng Provincial Adjustment Appropriation Bill.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Presiding officer, Archbishop Adams. Let me also acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Premier, Mr. Banyaza Lissufi, the fellow members in the Executive Council, the Chief Whip of the African National Congress, leaders of political parties, members, those who are in the House and at home, or rather online, members of the mayoral committees responsible for finance and councillors, representatives of the Auditor General's Office, senior officials of government and municipalities, representatives of business, organized labor and civil society, and a special mention to the Disability Business Chamber leaders who are here, distinguished guests, comrades, and friends. It is an honor and privilege to stand before you in this august house on this occasion of the tabling of the medium-term budget policy statement of the Gauteng Provincial Government. This event takes place during an important period in our country's calendar, the 16 Days of Activism for No Violence Against Women and Children campaign. This global campaign, which aims to raise awareness and combat gender-based violence and femicide, is more than an annual commemorative event. It is an opportunity for us to reflect on the state of GBVF in our country and to measure the efficacy of the interventions that we have in place. The decision by the President of the Republic, Honorable Cyril Ramaphosa, to declare GBV a national disaster is a progressive step in the right direction towards investing significantly in a fight that, if unattended to, threatens our civilization as we know it. GBV is not only a social, political, and public health emergency. It is also an economic crisis. It has substantial direct and indirect costs to individuals, communities, businesses, and national economies. Studies by the International Monetary Fund and numerous researchers have found that an increase in violence against women can significantly reduce overall economic activity. A 2019 study by the World Bank found that violence against women can cost up to 3.7% of gross domestic product in some countries, with South Africa estimated to be losing between 0.9% and 1.3% of GDP annually. And yet, high as these figures may be, most of these studies use accounting methods to estimate some direct costs related to such violence, but do not take into account other factors that can affect the economy. This event takes place just a week after South Africa hosted a successful G20 Leaders Summit, the historic meeting, the first to be hosted on the African soil since the founding of the G20 in 1999, remembered in history as a gathering that reaffirmed the importance of multilateralism in an increasing polarized world. As a multilateral global forum, the G20 represents 85% of the global GDP, 75% of international trade, and more than 2/3 of the world population. The meeting at Nasrec was particularly significant because our government, which held the G20 presidency, extended a special invitation to African leaders to participate in the summit alongside member states, providing a platform for industrialized and developing economies to discuss international developments and inclusive economy and cooperation. The adoption of the G20 Leaders Summit Declaration at the start of the meeting was a significant milestone, occurring after all countries reached a broad and sufficient consensus to, amongst other things, work in partnership to advance the agenda of the Global South through strengthened disaster resilience and response, ensuring debt sustainability for low-income countries, mobilizing finance for a just energy transition, and harnessing critical minerals for inclusive growth and sustainable development. These issues were also key points of engagement at the COP30 meeting, which took place in Brazil just days before the G20 summit in Johannesburg. Honorable members, by welcoming the G20 visitors into the province and successfully hosting them, Gauteng has once again demonstrated its capacity and strength for facilitating high-quality events. According to the National Department of Data in Gauteng, a huge congratulations to Team South Africa for achieving such a great feat, cementing in the eyes of the world that our country is an equal and important partner in the geopolitical arena. A deserved congratulations too to Team Gauteng, particularly the City of Johannesburg, supported by the City of Ekurhuleni and the City of Tshwane, for demonstrating that this province can successfully provide the infrastructure, services and logistics necessary for a global event. We must take this logistics necessary for a global event. We must take this opportunity in its legitimacy. For me to present this year's medium-term budget policy statement to this House, This is the 20th edition of the MTBPS and the second budget policy statement of the 7th administration, constitute as a government of a provincial unity under the leadership of Premier, since we were constituted under the leadership of Premier Panyaza Lesufi. Let me start by tabling the following documents for consideration by this House. Honorable Sima, what is briefcase? This is not a, so inside here, it's this, yeah, it's not a Woolworth bag. So inside here, Honorable Sima, So inside here, Honorable Msimang, I've got the medium-term consumer expenditure. In addition to this, South Africa recently received its first credit ratings upgrade in nearly 2 decades from S&P Global, which raised our foreign currency long-term sovereign credit rating to BB and local currency rating to BB+ with a positive outlook. This upgrade was driven by an improved fiscal outlook, stronger growth prospects, and better performance from state-owned entities like Eskom. The government has demonstrated fiscal consolidation and restraint in spending, including a decision to reduce its borrowing requirements, which signals underlying discipline. The Gauteng economy, the size of the province's economy output reached 2.4 trillion in 2024. This means that the province remains by far the economic hub of South Africa, responsible for 33 rands out of every 100 rands the country's economy produces. The economy of Gauteng is larger than the economies of KwaZulu-Natal and Western Cape combined. Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal and Western Cape contributes significantly to economic growth, together accounting for approximately 63% of South Africa's GDP. However, we understand that the economy of this province must record far higher growth rates to lift South Africa's GDP, accelerate the creation of much-needed jobs, and reduce poverty. It is for this reason that the Provincial Executive Council recently approved the Gauteng City Region Economic Growth and Development Plan, which is GCR-EGDP. The GCR-EGDP is intended to contribute to the 3 strategic priorities of the 7th administration, namely inclusive economic growth and job creation, improved living conditions and enhanced health and well-being, and a capable ethical and developmental state. The strategy is anchored on the following 10 main pillars. Firstly, reindustrialization through sector support, the promotion of trade and investment, spatial transformation and integration, economic and social infrastructure development, sustainable economic development, entrepreneurship and small business development support, skills of the future, and workforce development, building state capacity, safety and security, and the development of corridors of regional integration. The cross-cutting pillars of the strategy are innovation and digital transformation, women, youth, and people with disabilities, township procurement and research and development. It is supported by 12 sector master plans to enable policies and strategies, which includes, amongst other things, the Township Economy Development Act, the Informal Business Upliftment Strategy, the Tourism Master Plan, the MSME Strategy, the Trade and Investment Strategy, and green hydrogen. The Department of Economic Development is currently hosting several sector roundtables, which will culminate in the establishment of the 12 sector-specific action plans. These action labs, will act as multi-stakeholder collaborative and solution-oriented platforms to enhance the effectiveness and implementation of the strategy. Honorable members, the provincial government is confident that the effective implementation of this strategy will set Gauteng on a positive economic growth path and create much-needed jobs amid global headwinds and domestic economic challenges. Through this plan, we are working in partnership with all key stakeholders to accelerate efforts to facilitate economic infrastructure development, trade and investment promotion, improve the ease of doing business, and empower micro, small and medium enterprises, particularly those owned by previously disadvantaged groups. This will go a long way in enabling the province to close the current output gap, enhance production, and significantly increase our participation in international markets. Furthermore, honorable members, we convened a successful inaugural Gauteng Investment Conference in April this year. The conference resulted in global and local companies in both the public and private sector pledging more than 300 billion in investment commitments. Working with our partners, we are making progress to turn these pledges into realistic and implementable projects that will assist in enhancing infrastructure service delivery in the province, growing the economy and creating much-needed jobs for the people. Honorable members, the National Fiscal Framework is aimed at ensuring a responsible balance between government spending, tax revenue, and borrowing to prevent unsustainable debt, to create a stable environment for long-term growth, job creation, and investment financing of public services. As the provincial government, our fiscal trajectory reflects these national issues. That is why our focus is on debt management, revenue strategies, and spending restraint, while seeking alternative funding sources to meet increasing public service demands amid weak economic performance. In this regard, the provincial 5-year budget approach that we introduced in the previous financial year will be continued for the 2026 MTF budget, with the aim of addressing high-level provincial risks and stabilizing public finances. In line with this, the principles that will guide the 2025 MTF budget includes, amongst others, protecting vulnerable members of our society, realization of efficiencies in the provincial procurement processes, focusing on ready-to-deliver infrastructure projects, funding accruals as a first charge against the department's budget allocation, reprioritizing existing baselines to fund provincial priorities budget pressures or new funding requirements. Compensation of employees' budget must remain within the limits set in the 2025 budget. Ensuring long-term fiscal sustainability through own revenue collection, alternative funding sources, trade-offs, downscaling, or stopping programs. The goal of these principles is to stabilize provincial public finances by maintaining fiscal discipline and credibility and ensuring impactful service delivery. We must respond appropriately to prevailing key fiscal risks for the province, including unfunded public sector wage agreements and provincial debt obligations. We must be bold and introduce, test, and implement immediate short and medium-term budget reforms over the 2025 MTF to ensure prudent management of provincial resources. Honorable members, as part of our plans to ensure long-term fiscal sustainability, we have developed and adopted the new Gauteng province-wide revenue enhancement strategy. This strategy was approved by the Provincial Executive Council in October. It will enable the provincial government to increase own revenue collection, which will be used towards resourcing our priorities. The strategy has 6 pillars, which includes robust debt collection, the optimization of revenue collection processes and systems, new sources of revenue, the use of alternative sources of funding and implementation models, strategic investments, or rather quasi-fiscal investments, and regulatory reviews that support the introduction of new revenue sources to expand the provincial revenue base. Gauteng's fiscal trajectory must be addressed through a combination of active debt management strategies and aggressive revenue strategy and spending restraint. It is important to find ways to strike a balance between the growing demand for public services and the fiscally constrained economy. One option for achieving this is to explore alternative sources of funding to supplement the existing constrained revenue streams and thus enhance fiscal sustainability over the medium to long term. We have learned valuable lessons from implementing the previous revenue strategy in the 6th administration. These experiences and knowledge gained during that time will be used to ensure the successful implementation of the new strategy, including establishing revenue enhancement forum, which we've already established, introducing revenue incentives, and building the necessary capacity to implement and manage key interventions. The provincial treasury plays a critical role in driving the success of the strategy by providing leadership and fostering a conducive environment for its implementation. We therefore call on revenue-generating departments to work in partnership with us to ensure that we significantly increase revenue growth in the province over the next 5 years, because this is necessary to maintain the resourcing of key delivery priorities. Honorable members, following a period of intensive and robust engagements, we have finalized the process of drafting the Gauteng Gambling Amendments Bill, which we will be bringing to the House. This critical legislative process underscores the province's commitment to transformation, enhanced revenue collection, and the long-term sustainability and integrity of the Gauteng gambling industry. This development takes into consideration how the industry has evolved and will go a long way in strengthening the legislative framework in our country and promoting responsible and accountable gambling practices. Chair of Chairs, when retabling the 2025-2026 main budget to this House on the 3rd of June 2025, we emphasized our commitment to enhancing our internal processes to achieve operational efficiencies and fight fraud and corruption in government by digitizing our procurement ecosystem. Today, we are launching the pilot phase of what we call Tender Swift, Gauteng's new comprehensive e-procurement platform that has been developed in partnership with the Gauteng Management Agency to automate and digitize the entire tender management process in the province. Tender Swift, which is available on the e-tender website of the Gauteng Provincial Treasury, is a modern e-procurement platform designed to streamline processes, strengthen oversight, and provide the functionality needed for effective public procurement in the digital era. Honorable Premier, you will be glad to know that already one tender from Provincial Treasury has been advertised on Tender Swift, while another from the Gauteng Growth and Development Agency will be advertised on the 5th of December 2025. As Honorable Chief Whip of the ANC will say in Shangani, Mintiro ya bula bula. So we are not just talking about these things, we are doing them and we are implementing them. This demonstrates our commitment to transparency, open competition, and a modernized procurement system. And that's why we will challenge all other governments to follow suit, Honorable Msimang. For many years, government procurement systems relied heavily on manual paper-based submissions that created inefficiencies, delays, and opportunities for malpractice. Thus, this is not merely a technological upgrade. It is a strategic intervention aimed at ensuring that every supplier, regardless of size or location, has equal access to opportunities. Importantly, Tender Swift will also help curb corruption by reducing manual processes, strengthening oversight, and ensuring that every step of procurement is transparent, traceable, and accountable. Through this platform, we are reinforcing our determination to build a procurement system defined by integrity and fairness. Tender Swift builds on the open tender process, a key intervention that the Gauteng provincial government introduced in 2014 to strengthen our procurement processes. With Tender Swift, we are taking it a step further by digitizing the entire value chain of the procurement process, from tender creation and advertising through bid submission and evaluation to adjudication, probity audit, and contracting. Honorable members, in line with our commitment to modernize and innovate in the public sector procurement space, we are also automating the paper-based request for quotation, Honorable Msimang. We don't want to see what happened in Tembisa happening again. And that's why we are automating the RFQ system. These systems, which have been developed in partnership with National Treasury and the Department of E-Government, respectively, are aimed at integrating and automating budgeting and procurement processes, as well as improving the turnaround times and overall processing efficiency in the province. We are currently piloting the automation of both the RFQ and the RLS 01 processes at the Gauteng Provincial Treasury. the Gauteng Department of Community Safety, and the Office of the Premier. We have also started piloting the RFQ at the Gauteng Department of Roads and Transport. Our early observation is that the automation and integration of these processes has led to reduction in manual processing time and improved turnaround on approvals, enhanced compliance with National Treasury procurement regulations, improved audit trail completeness, data integrity, and real-time procurement visibility. Furthermore, as part of our ongoing commitments to strengthening supply chain management and ensuring that procurement is done in a fair, equitable, transparent, competitive, and cost-effective manner, we have introduced the Market Research Price Data Solution. Market Research Price Data Solution to combat manifestation of overpricing in the province. This will significantly protect the public purse, ensuring that resources are channeled towards public services that benefits the residents of our province. This innovative system is now fully functional and is being used in departments including the Office of the Premier, Economic Development, Social Development, E-Government, and Infrastructure. The system currently accounts for 51% of the total catalog items and enables real-time access to commodity price information, facilitates informed decision-making, and enhances price negotiation capabilities across various departments and entities in the Gauteng provincial government. We must report that the invoice management system that we introduced in April this year to provide suppliers with a simple, user-friendly portal to submit and track invoices is performing well. A significant number of all invoices of the provincial government are uploaded through this platform. In the year in the year to November, more than 8,000 suppliers interacted with the invoice management system and submitted 165,000 invoices valued at 35.6 billion. A total of 83% of these invoices were paid within 30 days province-wide. Lastly, honorable members, as part of our initiative to support small businesses, we are operating what we call the purchasing card platform that offers an additional economic participation option for transactions currently at 30,000, but we're looking at increasing them. In the current financial year, more than 500 merchants have benefited from this facility, with nearly 3 million in total spent processed through the P-card system on average per month. This initiative has played a key role in supporting SMMEs to remain economically active within Gauteng. More options are being explored to make this mechanism to reach a wider spectrum. The successful piloting and implementation of these digital projects demonstrates that the solutions we are introducing are both effective and scalable, providing a strong foundation for long-term sustainability. We are confident that this digital transition will go a long way in enhancing transparency, improving compliance, and drive operational efficiency across the entire provincial government. Turning to local government, honorable members, we are deeply concerned about the challenge of municipalities tabling unfunded budgets. Based on the budget assessments that we have conducted in recent months, only Rand West, the West Rand District Municipality, and the Mirafong City were able to revise their budget funding plans. The implications of municipalities tabling unfunded budgets cannot be minimized. Unfunded budgets are a primary cause of the non-delivery and deterioration of essential services such as water, sanitation, electricity, and waste management. Furthermore, the adoption of unfunded budgets contributes to ongoing financial distress, resulting in high levels of unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. At the macro level, unfunded budgets and municipal financial distress have a negative impact on regional economic growth, as a lack of stability and services stifles investment and innovation. That said, honorable members, we wish to recognize the City of Joburg, City of Ekurhuleni, City of Tshwane, Midvaal Local Municipality, and Mogale City Local Municipality for tabling funded budgets from the onset, demonstrating. Oh, you can clap, they are doing well. Yeah. Demonstrating commitment to prudent financial management. As the Provincial Treasury, we will continue to support and strengthen the capacity of municipalities to manage their financial affairs. We will ensure that our capacity building programs are aligned to financial management challenges faced by our municipalities. This will go a long way towards addressing financial management and reporting challenges at local government level. Chair of Chairs, let me now talk about the elements of the 2025-2026 adjustment budget that we are tabling in this House today, and which formalizes the rolling over of funds from 2024 to 2025 financial year. The recommendations and priorities reflected in these adjustment budgets are the culmination of an extensive consultation process beginning from the Medium-Term Expenditure Committee, hearings, bilateral engagement between members of the Executive Council and myself and the Premier's Budget Committee, and engagement with other political parties. This collaborative approach ensures that our budget is not only technically sound, but also responsive to the needs of Gauteng's people. This budget adjustment also addresses pressures in frontline services as a means to equipping Gauteng provincial government to continue responding to the provincial imperatives underpinning the 2024 to 2029 MTBP and the G13 priorities. The total under expenditure for the 2024-2025 financial year was 1.922 billion, or 99% of the allocated budget of 168.7 billion, of which conditional grants amounted to 381.5 million, and the equitable share was 1.3 billion. So of significance is that 295.7 million of the unspent conditional grants have been approved for rollover, and only 85.8 million will be surrendered to the National Revenue Fund. Whole of the 1.3 billion underspending in equitable share, 211.6 million will be rolled over, the balance not being lost to the province but retained in the Provincial Revenue Fund. As a matter of fact, 888 million was reappropriated to the provincial priorities in the budget that we tabled on the 3rd of June, 2025. Provincial Treasury runs a rollover process with well-defined criteria such as unpaid invoices or tangible proof of commitments of funds at year end. The difference between the underspending and the amount of equitable share funds approved for rollover is because some departmental requests are unsuccessful due to legislative limit, such as not more than 5% of goods and services allocations being eligible for rollover, or insufficient documentary evidence as per the established criteria. The total adjustment is 3.3 billion, which includes the rollovers, national and provincial funding. In terms of injections to the fiscal envelope, a total of 2.2 billion is being added to the 2025 main budget, and this is as follows. Chairs. The Office of the Premier will receive an additional amount of 43.9 million, of which 40.8 million goes towards honoring outstanding claims from Life Acid Dimeni Mental Health Users Project, and 2.8 million for the filling of critical posts. The Department of Health is allocated 1.1 billion towards offsetting the pressures in the goods and services baseline, and a further 90 million rands towards its infrastructure projects, especially the pathology, especially that pathology. The Department of Education will receive 507.8 million, of which 200 million is to alleviate pressures in the compensation of employees, line item, and the balance to scholar transport, school nutrition, school safety, which are key goods and services cost drivers. The Department of Social Development is allocated 103.9 million, of which 35.5 million is for augmenting the infrastructure program, Honorable Mazibugo. Allocation and the balance towards goods and services items exhibiting pressures. The Department of Community Safety is allocated 92.6 million to alleviate pressures facing various items under goods and services. The Department of Sports, Arts, Culture and Recreation will receive 10 million, of which about 6 million is towards the summer games that will be taking place in December. And they will also be looking at helping Bafana Bafana for their final preparation game that will take place in our province. This initiative keeps communities constructively engaged and active in various ways during the festive season. A total of 3 million will be allocated towards goods and services and 1 million for compensation of employees. A total of 400 million was Honorable Waters. He was saying we will be switched off at eGov. So a total of 400 million is allocated to e-government, of which 200 million is to address the looming obsolescence of equipment for the Gauteng provincial network, and the balance, 200 million, towards offsetting pressing commitments under goods and services. So we will not be switched off as Gauteng government. The Department of Infrastructure Development is allocated 20 million to alleviate pressures in goods and services and 13 million for the compensation of employees. The adjustments budget process remains the primary mechanism for addressing unforeseen and unavoidable expenditure. Expenditure that could not be anticipated at the time of the main budget. Chair of Chairs, infrastructure investment continues to play a pivotal role in economic development, job creation, and contributes directly to the quality of life of our citizens. This is why we strongly believe that we must increase our investment in infrastructure and improve on robust infrastructure systems that support all our provincial services, including transport, health, education, and social development. The Provincial Treasury has already introduced various measures to improve on the efficient and effective use of financial resources allocated for infrastructure projects. Instruction notes have been issued as promised in the last budget with the aim of responding to the needs of the intended beneficiaries and to prevent wasteful expenditure. When we fail to deliver projects on time, within budget and to specifications, inclusive of legislative compliance, we compromise on value for money. Due to funding constraints, we must also intensify our efforts to secure alternative resource financing models. The high level of dependence on the provincial fiscals to fund infrastructure projects must also be addressed through the strengthening of cost recovery and exploring alternative funding sources. We are also placing more focus on consequence management of poorly performing service providers. All provincial departments and entities are encouraged to work with the Provincial Treasury and other relevant stakeholders to prepare bankable applications for infrastructure projects that qualify for budget infrastructure fund funding. As the Provincial Treasury, we are also focusing on public-private partnerships as a vehicle to attract additional resources for infrastructure projects. Over the past few months, water insecurity challenges in the province have led to service delivery protests in some of our communities. The frustrations by our residents and businesses in the province are valid, Honorable Chief Whip. In his 2025 State of the Province address, Honorable Premier Banyaza Lesufi not only apologized for the water crisis, but he also went on to outline several measures for water security, focusing on infrastructure repair, demand management, and interagency collaboration. In this context, we welcome the recent launch of System 5A, yet another construction feed by bulk water utility Rand Water. Rand Water is executing its augmentation program through the construction of the said water purification facility. System 5A will add 600 million liters a day to Rand Water's capacity, of which 150 million liters a day is already in use, with the full commissioning and handover expected by the end of December 2025. This will be purified at the bulk water purification plant, which can now purify up to 1.2 billion liters of water a day. Of significance about the System 5A is that it will ensure that there is enough water in Gauteng and the parts of surrounding provinces, including Mpumalanga and the northwest areas that have been water stressed for decades, despite being South Africa's industrial and economic heartland. The implications of System 5A are significant and go beyond ensuring water availability until 2031. The economy of Gauteng and South Africa broadly is heavily reliant on water resources. With regard System 5A as a significant water infrastructure intervention, especially as it happens along the now completed 210 megaliter Vlakfontein Reservoir in Germiston. The project is a multi-million rand investment designed to increase water storage capacity for the growing demand in its areas of operation. It won the 2022 Fulton Awards for Engineering Excellence as the largest post-tension circular concrete reservoir in the world. The leadership of Rand Water, led by its group chief executive, Sipho Musai, must be commended for the significant work that it is doing to ensure that the Gauteng province addresses its water security challenges. But this work, yeah, you can clap, it's allowed. But this work depends on the commitments of municipalities to strengthen their own water governance, which is a key requisite for ensuring that households and businesses in Gauteng can continue to function optimally. As the logistics, manufacturing and economic nerve center of the South African economy, Gauteng's reliance on sustainable water supply is very important. Honorable members, the Minister of Finance, Enoch Godongwana, emphasized during his MTBPS speech that, and I quote, "We are choosing growth, stability, and reform," close quote. We would like to affirm that as the Gauteng provincial government, we remain singularly focused on protecting social services, supporting inclusive growth, and ensuring that every rand derives tangible value and benefits to the people of Gauteng. It is critical that at this juncture of the policy statement, we must thank the Honorable Premier, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, and the Executive Council for the commitment that they have demonstrated in prioritizing inclusive economic growth and development in the Gauteng province. We are thankful to the Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Finance, Honorable Musai, and the entire committee for the phenomenal work that is being done to strengthen financial governance and accountability in our province. We also thank the Speaker and Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and are deeply appreciated for the support that they are providing to the work of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature and the broad provincial government. We also like to thank the Chair of Committees, Honorable Adams, and the Deputy Chair of Committees, Honorable Kunene. Gratitude must also go out to all members of the legislature who make sure that the checks and balances are in place, ensuring that we do not deviate from our program of action. A special thanks to the head of Gauteng Provincial Treasury, Ms. Ngumi Samnyani, and the team that she competently leads for providing strategic leadership on financial and fiscal matters in support of the province's social and economic development agenda. We are also grateful to the officials in the Gauteng Provincial Treasury for their role in the architecture of these medium-term budget policy statements. We would like to thank all MMCs of finance in our municipalities for continuing to work with the Provincial Treasury to find ways to stabilize economies in our municipalities under challenging circumstances, thereby ensuring that we continue to build an economy that grows in the hands of our communities. Our gratitude also goes out to the media for its commitment to ensuring that the work of the department and broader Gauteng provincial government is communicated to the residents of our province. And finally, we would like to thank the residents of Gauteng, our primary stakeholders, for their resilience and commitment to making our province work. We wish to conclude by reiterating the words of the Professor of Public Policy, Jeff Mulgen, who currently asserted, and I quote, "The responsibility for good government lies not just with governments themselves, but also with every other part of the system they operate in, including media, non-governmental organizations, and the public." Close quote, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable MEC. Thank you, members. Thank you, Honorable MEC Maile, the MEC of Finance. Honorable members, this concludes the business of the day. Our next meeting and sitting will be on the 9th of December. The House is now adjourned. Shall we stand, please?